Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to start by giving my respects to the young souls who lost their lives during the recent protests that we witnessed as a country. And as a mother, it hurts to my stomach to lose our children in that manner. I want to send my condolences to the families of the ones who lost their loved ones. And I want to say it is not in vain. As a Senate, we are here reflecting and debating on the actions due to the contribution of your children. I also want to thank the CS of Health, CS Nakumicha, for waiving the hospital bills of those young people who got injured, and the President for committing to take up the funeral expenses and compensating the families, Mr. Speaker. It is also very concerning the silence of the IG of Police, Mr. Koome. We are yet to get a comment from him on the happenings of this country in those 2 weeks that we witnessed unprecedented actions by our young people. Mr. Speaker, the country is experiencing a youth bulge. 75% of our population is people below the age of 35 years, Mr. Speaker, and that is not necessarily a bad thing, because it means that we have a large workforce that, if put into use, can give us great dividends of the economy, Mr. Speaker. And when the President, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, took out of office, when he assumed office as the President of Kenya, we have seen deliberate efforts that are aimed at utilizing that youth bulge, Mr. Speaker. The affordable housing project currently is employing between 140,000 youth to 200,000, Mr. Speaker. And you can see that he had thought about this large number of youth. Another program, Mr. Speaker, of the Finya computer utoe dollar that has been made fun of in this country. It is a program that, if utilized well by our young people and if taken up, can end up turning them into taxpayers, and they can make use of their skills. Because, Mr. Speaker, every year we are churning out between 600,000 and 700,000 young people from our universities, from our TVETs, from our high schools. They come and join the job market, and they don't find employment that is commensurate to their training and aspirations, Mr. Speaker. But another thing that the President has been doing, it is the export of labor. And I've also heard people criticizing this program, saying that we want to make it at home. We can make it at home, and we don't have to export labor to other countries, Mr. Speaker. I want to say that there are families in this country who are poverty-ridden, and all they survive on is sending a member of their family outside the country, Mr. Speaker. One of the leading countries, the Philippines, one of their biggest economy contribution that contributes to 12% of the GDP is a labor export, Mr. Speaker. And those efforts have been done by that country deliberately. And that is what the President has been trying to achieve. I want to challenge the youth. Now that we have affordable fertilizer, we have vast land, available land, agricultural land in the country, I want to challenge them to get involved in agribusiness. That there is huge potential in agribusiness, and you can become self-employed, and you can be part of the nation building in that way. Here in Nairobi, our young people are usually used during the political process We rely on them heavily for campaigns. They are a tool for creating hype for us candidates. But when you get into office, for example, your hands are tied because you want to help them, but the available opportunities are not that many. Mr. Speaker, if I opened for you my DM, my Instagram direct message now, the amount of messages, people requesting me or begging me to assist them get employment, Mr. Speaker. And I have observed this over time, and I have been wondering, I've been asking myself, how long can we sustain this kind of desperation among the youth? Mr. Speaker, we have an advantage of having a youth, a large youth that has energy, that has a lot of potential, it is largely educated, and it is time as a country we come up with ways for utilizing these young people, because when they are not gainfully employed, when they are not channeling their energy the right way, it is how we end up getting instability and even being exposed to political triggers that we saw last week, the last 2 weeks. Because, Mr. Speaker, even if the youth came to the streets, they were coming to the streets because of a lot of other reasons. Lack of employment for them and their mothers, and a myriad of reasons that took them to the streets. Because, truth be told, the finance bill had very little to do with it, and the misinformation that was also in the streets, in the youth that took to the streets, was noticeable, Mr. Speaker. Because I saw ladies carrying placards protesting the increase of taxes on sanitary products and or diapers, Mr. Speaker, which is not the truth. Who in their right senses can dare tax sanitary towels and diapers in Kenya, Mr. Speaker? The thing that the government wanted to achieve by introducing an eco-levy on imported sanitary towels and diapers from China, the substandard ones, the bad quality ones, is to have us be self-sufficient in that field, because, truth be told, there is a huge demand for pads and a huge demand for diapers. So if we start, and if we grow that industry, it will create jobs for our people, and it is these young people who took the streets are the ones who are going to benefit. Instead of that labor going to the Chinese youth, it will end up being the Kenyan labor that we are utilizing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am on record before this House as tasking the Finance Committee to give me, or to give this House an audit on how many of our young people have benefited from the AGPO program. And I wanted to know, in our parastatals, in our county governments, how many youth people are getting tenders that rightfully belong to them, Mr. Speaker. And we have to interrogate these opportunities that are already available, that the youth that are not going to our young people and wrongfully going to the wrong hands, and we end up having the situation like the one we had. And on the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, I am one of those people who can swear by the President of this country, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto. I believe that the intentions of the President were in the right place with that bill. I want to disagree with Senator Shakila, who claimed here that the President is a perpetrator of corruption. And it's only that this debate is interrupted, and that's why we did not raise a point of order. But nothing can be further from the truth, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the President's intentions are in the right place. In that same finance bill, tea packaging had been exempted from the 16% rate that previously attracted. Equal levy was placed on every finished product that comes to this country, together with raw materials, potatoes, eggs, onions, and all that, Mr. Speaker. These are things that, these are measures that we should all support, but we all agree that the information and the communication team of the president and of the government did not disseminate this information to the ground, because I am sure if that had been done, we would have gotten more support, and the people who took advantage of our young people politically to settle political scores or aspirations could not have found that kind of number that they got from our young people, Mr. Speaker. And speaking of misinformation, I am one of those people who bore the brunt of the misinformation about the finance bill, even on social media, Mr. Speaker. I have lost in my Instagram more than 10,000 followers because I was involved in a conversation on my comment section. A lady came to my page asking me, how can you as a woman support a bill that proposes to tax sanitary towels? And so I responded to try and explain to her that that is not the case, and locally manufactured sanitary towels were not going to attract the eco levy. And so she asked me, which local sanitary towels do you use, Karen? And I responded to her, I use tampons. Because, Mr. Speaker, I use tampons. And that was taken as arrogance, as how dare you. You see, but this is stemming from misinformation, Mr. Speaker. And I have earned myself a new name in this country as Shori for tampons, Mr. Speaker. You'll come across it on social media. They are calling me Demo tampons, Shori wa tampons. They even told on me to the president when he was holding the X-Space, he was engaging the young people. They told him that some of the leaders under you are very arrogant. Senator Karen Nyamu is very, very arrogant, based on my statement saying that I use tampons. And Mr. Speaker, this is the first time, because of this finance bill supporting the government position, this is the first time in my life that I am being called arrogant, Mr. Speaker. Those who know me, those who have had the chance to interact with me, will speak of my humility, will speak of my person, my persona, my down-to-earth nature, and far from it. And far from it. And if I was misunderstood, because I certainly was, I want to say to the youth of Kenya, to the women of Kenya who got angry by my statement, that I don't withdraw because I use tampons, but I am sorry for angering you, and I am one of those fighters of the young generation. And I know they were very disappointed that I did not join in this what they were agitating for against the finance bill, but it is because I believe in the President, William Samoei Ruto. And it is up to me to convince you young people that our President has the best intentions for this country. It is not up to me to join you in your misinformation. It is up to me as an ambassador of this government to show you and to win you over and to tell you, be patient. The President is working. He has shown a lot of goodwill so far. He has appointed a task force to audit our public debt, which is one of the biggest reasons why we are here today, our public debt. The Finance Bill 2024 was tailored to remedy some of those things. especially the public debt, to balance that and development, Mr. Speaker. Another thing that my colleagues have also addressed is the issue of corruption. Mr. Speaker, the EACC is letting the country down big time. Because since its inception, we are yet to see heads rolling, Mr. Speaker. We are yet to see the cases, corruption cases that they have prosecuted that have ended up having people serve jail term, or what our people would love to see, Mr. Speaker. It should not be business as usual. If they cannot deliver to our people, the EACC, let it be disbanded, and let us have another body that is going to deliver to the people of Kenya. The excuses that they give every other time will not fly anymore. And Mr. Speaker, I want to talk to the young people of Kenya, and I want to tell you to take voters' cards. Register as voters, all of you. The voice that we had, your voice that we had, it will be more powerful if it is heard through the ballot box, Mr. Speaker. And I want to assure you that in 2027, you will have no better candidate. You will agree with me that you will have no better candidate than His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. The other day he said, the measures he's taking now are akin to a cut, an examination cut. And in the fullness of time, in 5 years, he is going to sit for the exam. And on that time, when that time comes, I know you will all agree with me. So when that time comes for voters registration, I expect all of you who are in the streets to take voters' card. And with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Anchisa.